We chew our food for a matter of seconds, swallow it, and assume our job is done. Yet inside the darkness of our abdominal cavity, an exhausting chemical dismantling process has only just begun. And the working hours of these organs care nothing about how light that food looked on your plate. 1. Banana, 30 minutes. A ripe banana will only stay inside your stomach for 30 minutes before vanishing completely into the intestines. This remarkably short window isn't simply because the banana is soft when chewed, it's because a banana is a botanical anomaly that consumes itself from within. As a banana ripens, natural enzymes inside it, such as amylase, have already begun breaking down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars long before the fruit ever touches your lips. Imagine an old building being prepared for demolition. Instead of waiting for the wrecking crew to arrive and destroy it from the outside, the building's own support pillars have been fitted with dynamite and are slowly crumbling themselves into dust. The hydrochloric acid and pepsin enzyme inside your stomach are like a demolition crew arriving late to the site, only to find that most of the heavy lifting has already been done. The high water content of a banana also acts as a natural hydraulic lubricant, sweeping the remaining simple carbohydrate molecules gliding freely through the pyloric valve into the small intestine, without any meaningful resistance. 2. Apple, 40 minutes. Unlike a banana, which is done in 30 minutes, an apple demands your stomach work for a full 40 minutes to break it down. That 10-minute difference may sound trivial, but at the microscopic level, your stomach is facing an entirely different structural defense system. An apple has no self-destructing enzymes like a banana. Instead, it is armed with pectin, a type of soluble fiber, and rigid cellulose walls. Digesting apple flesh inside the stomach is exactly like trying to dismantle an expensive electronic machine wrapped in multiple thick layers of bubble wrap and sealed with industrial tape. Your stomach acid cannot reach the nutrients directly. It must patiently and systematically dissolve the protective pectin coating and break down those cellulose walls one by one. Every bite of apple you swallow forces the stomach to perform extra mechanical contractions, squeezing and grinding the apple pieces against strong muscular walls, ensuring that not a single cell escapes a soaking in acid fluid before finally being permitted to exit toward the next stage of digestion. 3. White rice, 1 hour. What often surprises many people is the fact that a plate of cooked white rice takes only 1 hour to be completely emptied from your stomach. We often think of rice as a heavy, filling food, but for your digestive system, white rice is an extremely vulnerable food with no defenses whatsoever. This is because the industrial milling process has stripped away the rice's husk and bran, leaving behind only the endosperm, a bare lump of pure starch. White rice inside the ocean of stomach acid behaves exactly like a snow sculpture doused with boiling water. With no fiber shell to slow the flow of stomach fluid, these starch molecules immediately lose their structural integrity. Digestive enzymes attack the clumps of rice from every direction without obstruction, instantly cutting the long carbohydrate chains into sticky glucose. Your stomach barely needs to perform any hard muscular work. It only needs to stir this mixture a few times before transforming a solid tray of rice into a flowing liquid paste, ready to flood your bloodstream with sugar. 4. Avocado, 2 hours. Though categorized as a fruit, avocado colonizes your digestive system for a full 2 hours, proving that your body recognizes biochemistry, not botanical categories. This lengthy waiting period occurs because avocado is packed with long-chain unsaturated fatty acids. When these liquid fats touch the lower lining of the stomach, they trigger a chemical alarm that commands the release of the hormone cholecystokinin. This hormone actively breaks the muscular contractions of the stomach, deliberately paralyzing your normal digestive rhythm. If this chemical fact about the stomach is just as surprising to you as it was the first time I discovered it, subscribe first, because we haven't even reached the most absurd part of all of this. This avocado retention mechanism works like an emergency traffic controller at an extremely busy highway interchange. This officer knows that if he opens the gate and lets dozens of fat tanker trucks hurtle into the intestine simultaneously, the entire downstream system will be overwhelmed and grind to a halt. So, the stomach holds the avocado back, releasing those fat fluids drop by drop at a very slow rhythm, ensuring the small intestine has sufficient time to produce the bile needed to break down each droplet of oil.
5.
Egg. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is how long your stomach needs to successfully conquer the complex structure of a cooked egg. Here lies the greatest misconception. People assume that a hard-boiled egg, which is so soft and easily crushed in the mouth, will dissolve immediately inside the stomach. In reality, the albumin protein in egg whites possesses a remarkably stable three-dimensional molecular architecture, which becomes increasingly rigid after being heated during cooking. Ordinary stomach acid is not enough to break it down. Digesting an egg is like trying to unravel thousands of tightly tangled rolls of steel cable, all twisted around one another inside a dark drum. Your stomach must deploy a specific enzyme called pepsin, tasked with penetrating the tiniest molecular gaps to sever hydrogen bonds, while simultaneously flooding the chamber with concentrated hydrochloric acid to physically force those protein strands to unfold, a process called denaturation. Without this brutal mechanical and chemical dismantling lasting hundreds of minutes, your body would never be able to access the crucial amino acids locked tightly inside those white and yolk lumps. 6. Almond. 3 hours. Almonds demand an exhausting 3 hours from your stomach, making them one of the most stubborn plant-based snacks you can consume. No matter how many times you chew them, you will never be able to perfectly crush an almond structure inside your mouth. This is because almonds are protected by plant cell walls composed of cellulose and lignin, the same material that makes tree trunks hard. At the same time, these rigid cells store very high concentrations of fat. Almonds inside your stomach behave exactly like millions of micro-sized titanium safes hurled to the bottom of the ocean. Your stomach acid, however powerful it may be, has no ability to break down these cellulose walls. All the stomach can do is slam these tiny safes against the stomach walls over and over again, slowly seeping into whatever minute cracks were created during chewing, and waiting patiently for the fat inside to seep out. It is this nutrient extraction process, built on patience and frictional erosion, that keeps almonds sitting inside your stomach cavity for an unrelenting 180 minutes. 7. Beefsteak. 3.5 hours. A cut of beefsteak will keep your stomach working non-stop in its most extreme mode for 3.5 hours. Red meat is not merely an ordinary protein lump. It's true muscle tissue that evolved to withstand extraordinary physical pressure and load while the animal was still alive. These muscle fibers are bound together by a tough collagen mesh and interspersed with dense layers of saturated fat. Dealing with beefsteak in digestion is the perfect analogy for attempting to dismantle the suspension cables of a massive suspension bridge using acid liquid. The main cable consists of hundreds of thick steel wires, muscle fibers, wrapped in thick industrial rubber sheathing, collagen. Your stomach must transform itself into a concrete mixer machine loaded with high concentration acid. The stomach walls contract with maximum force, repeatedly squeezing the muscle tissue while hydrochloric acid gradually melts away the collagen rubber binding it together. For hours, these chunks of meat simply rotate inside the stomach, slowly eroded from the outside in before the microscopic bridge structure finally collapses entirely. H. Cheese. 4.5 hours. Here is the most absurd paradox of all. A piece of cheese, which you don't even need to chew for very long, will chain your stomach function for 4.5 hours, the longest record among all common foods. We imagine cheese will easily melt in the stomach like an ice cube in warm water. The truth is dramatically the opposite. Cheese is made from casein, a milk protein with an inherent tendency to clump together upon contact with an acidic environment. This casein reaction is exactly like pouring a wet cement mixture into a pool of chemical water. Instead of dissolving, the cement instantly reacts, hardens and forms a dense, chewy rubber lump at the base of your stomach. Your stomach is now trapped. It cannot quickly break down this dense protein rubber mass. Enzymes and acid can only microscopically gnaw at the outermost layer of that cheese lump. While the outer portion slowly melts into liquid over the course of hours, the dense core at the center stubbornly holds out, demanding your stomach work for nearly 1/5 of a day for a single piece of snack you swallowed in a matter of seconds. Your stomach never lies. What has been lying all along are the light and healthy labels we stick on food ourselves based on how sizable it looks and how it tastes on our tongue. Now you know who truly holds control inside your body.